Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, Partnership for Growth, UTLA, LA Care Health Plan, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and the Liberty Hill Foundation. Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad we're back in stride again. All right, let's get this party started today. Gonna be a great show today. I got a great show on tap for you today, I should say. In our second hour today, two conversations. It's Thursday, so up first it's Smiley and West. Dr. Cornel West, a great deal to cover with him today, including how he got pulled into the drama between Andrew Cuomo and Zohran Mamdani in the mayor's race in New York City. I'll tell you all about that. And we'll get Doc's take on that, but he's in the middle of this drama. The election, of course, on Tuesday in New York City. We'll talk to Cornel West at the top of hour two. On the B side of hour two, a conversation with Dr. Maulana Karenga. We are approaching the 60th anniversary of the 7 Principles of Kwanzaa, of course, founded by Dr. Karenga. So we'll talk to Maulana Karenga on the B side of hour two. In our third hour today...
Listen, man, I need a lawyer, a land lawyer. You know anybody?
No gun lawyers, drug lawyers, no baby mama lawyers, baby daddy lawyers, accident, mesothelioma lawyers.
Mesothelioma?
No, all kind of lawyers, man. You know what? After we finish dropping papers, there's a guy I know you should meet. He's my cousin.
All right, but you trust him.
Trust him more than I trust you.
That's good. You believe this guy wants to be governor? So bad that he's willing to take a hit out on his own brother?
You're dealing with greedy people, and greedy people don't know right from wrong. You get in their way, you get tossed. Doesn't matter if you're a journalist or a preacher. Look at Greenwood. They massacred black folks and indigenous folks, and they did it for greed and hate. Look at them. They knew what they were doing. They were making Tulsa white. They were making a system. They were creating a wealth class, and they were knocking down lot after lot, dropping from planes. Regular hateful folks don't drop from planes. That takes hate and power. These people were hateful. These people had a superiority complex. These people had money in their eyes. Those are the people that dropped planes. And whatever it was, whatever that thing that was fueling the fire underneath, it's still here. You get in the way of that, you're going to get smoked. Be smart like me. Take care of what's in front of you. Be smart like me, and they can't touch you.
Conversation in hour three today with Walter Mosley, the legendary author. His latest novel is called Gray Dawn, an Easy Rollins mystery. But he's also inside the writer's room on the new FX series. Said that fast 3 times. The new FX series, The Lowdown, which stars Killer Mike. And so we'll talk to Walter Mosley in hour three. about the new Easy Rollins Mystery, and be joined as well by Killer Mike, talking about The Lowdown, again, the new series on FX. But we commence today's show talking politics with Rashad Robinson, political activist and commentator, has a new newsletter called How We Win. Congrats on that, Rashad. Good to have you back on the program. How are you today?
I'm well. Always good to be with you.
It's good to hear your voice, man. We'll get to how we win here later in this conversation. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on how we win in the situation that we find ourselves in at the moment. But before I commence our conversation with Rashad, here is some sound. This is the story of the last couple of days, and as we approach November 1, it is going to be the story. We talked about it a bit on the program yesterday, but everybody's talking about November 1 when these SNAP benefits run out, essentially. There were a lot of people, 42 million people, many women and children, who are going to lose their food support. And if you think America, as the richest nation in history of the world, already has a food insecurity problem, wait till November 1 when 42 million people are going to be impacted by these SNAP benefits. Here is Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
There's enough money to start feeding people right away. $6 billion's a lot of money, and they're using it for other things. $20 billion for Argentina, hundreds of millions for Kristi Noem's plane. Who are we kidding here? In the last shutdown, rather 2019, January 8th, 2019, they funded it. So don't believe the bull, and I hope in every story you will write that they can fund it on their own. Trump is weaponizing hunger. He's turning millions of children and seniors and veterans into political pawns. He's choosing politics over people, cruelty over compassion. All of these people will lose their SNAP benefits, not because the money's gone, not because it's not permitted, because Donald Trump ordered it stopped. Donald Trump is a vindictive politician and a heartless man.
So you have Chuck Schumer with the line of the day, Trump is weaponizing hunger. We'll talk about that with Rashad Robinson when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Lamert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33, and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
California, this is your moment. The special election is November 4th, and your vote helps decide your future, your community, and your state. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box. Visit an early vote center or mail it. Your participation powers democracy. Every ballot makes a difference. Tell a friend to do the same. Sign up at where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov to track your ballot. Make your voice count. Don't delay. Vote today. A message from the California Secretary of State.
Hollywood swinging. Megan Good, Michael Hyatt, Golden Brooks, Ty Burrell, Christine Devine. They're all coming together on Saturday, November 1st at Paramount Picture Studios for the Kits Film Awards, a red carpet celebration of young filmmakers from right here in Los Angeles. Presented by Kids in the Spotlight. The Kids Film Awards showcase original short films written, cast, and performed by local youth. Powerful stories across every genre, from drama and comedy to action and suspense. It's a night that blends Hollywood energy with real community spirit, highlighting the future voices of film. These are the next generation of storytellers stepping onto one of Hollywood's biggest stages. Come out and experience a night filled with film, music, and inspiration, where creativity, community, and purpose meet. Tickets are available now at kitsinc.org. That's KITSINC.org. The 2025 Kits Film Awards, Saturday, November 1st at Paramount Picture Studios. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Rashad Robinson, who is the creator of the newsletter How We Win. All right, Rashad, you heard Chuck Schumer there suggesting that Donald Trump is weaponizing hunger. We're about to be in for it on the 1st of November, again, when these SNAP benefits run out. You heard Chuck Schumer say it's not because the money isn't there, but Donald Trump is playing hardball in this shutdown with Democrats. Your take, sir?
Well, he's right. I think that they are playing hardball. The Republicans are playing hardball because they want to raid public resources. They want to cut the social safety net. They want to, this is part of Donald Trump's plan that he did not get done in his first 4 years, which was to eliminate Obamacare and to eliminate the kind of subsidies that are provided for healthcare to millions of Americans around the country. This is part of the problem that I kind of have with the Democrats and the Democrat leadership as a whole, because while I appreciate the words of Chuck Schumer, the fight, from the Democrats has not been there and consistent, really, in terms of both naming the enablers. This is not just about Donald Trump. This is not just about Republicans. This is also about a whole set of corporations and other enablers that have put Trump in place and protect Trump in order for him to raid the social safety net. And so we are now faced with this choice. Either you cut food or you cut health care. Either you don't have food for many poor Americans who are working every single day. The SNAP benefits in so many ways are subsidizing corporations because so many people on SNAP are actually working for some of the biggest, most lucrative corporations in this country and are not being paid a living wage. So as a result, they are on public assistance. So we are subsidizing these big corporations, and we don't hear from these corporations in this moment. We don't hear them pushing back on Trump, them withholding their support. And so the fact of the matter is that we need Democrats to be able to tell us a full story that isn't just about Donald Trump and the White House and even the Republican Congress, but all of those enablers that hold up this party and hold up this president and allow them to do this. Because until we actually have defections from the enablers, Donald Trump will continue to be able to do their dirty work for them.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you, but you don't expect, really, that Democrats would call out corporate America. They're all eating at the same trough, are they not?
They absolutely are. And to be clear, this is why I think we have to be able to demand more. And we do have, I think, stories of Democrats that are talking about these issues in different ways. And we have to find ways to support them and uplift it. There is a battle, I think, happening in the Democratic Party right now for the soul of the party, who is willing to sort of name names, who is willing to actually call these things out, who's willing to talk about a full story about what's happening and why things are not affordable in this country. And we're seeing that, and I believe something new is possible. And so I think that is part of the work that all of us that kind of pay attention to these things have to do, is helping people make sense of why we are in this mess. Because you're absolutely right. We're not going to see this from the leading Democrats in the House or the leading Democrats in the Senate. But until we demand more, nothing will change.
So yesterday on this program, Rashad, we had Everett Kelly, who made news 48 hours ago, as you know. He's president of the American Federation of Government Employees, happens to be an African-American brother. And 48 hours ago, he became the first major union to call for the shutdown to end immediately. That was reported and seen, and I think correctly so, as an advantage to Republicans and Donald Trump. Because if Democrats come back to the table without winning what they've been holding out for on health care specifically, then Republicans and Donald Trump ultimately end up taking, I think, a victory lap. So this story was a huge story, again, as you know, 48 hours ago, because this is a union that endorsed Kamala Harris. And before Kamala Harris, this union had endorsed Joe Biden. Again, it's the American Federation of Government Employees. Some 865,000 members in this particular union of government employees. This union comes out and says, we want this thing to end without, again, the health benefits that Democrats have been fighting for. The pain is becoming more and more acute for them every single day. So Everett Kelly was on this program yesterday. We tracked him down. He came on yesterday. I was delighted to have him on. And I was able to ask him directly what this says about the Democratic base. If you all endorse Kamala Harris, I said to him, if you endorsed Joe Biden prior to that, and now you're essentially aiding and abetting the Republicans, aiding and abetting Donald Trump by insisting that this thing end now, never mind what Democrats are fighting for, never mind the line they have drawn, never mind what they're holding out for all Americans. And I understand the pain that your union members feel, I said to him, but what does it really say about the Democratic base? That the Democratic Party leadership, at least, Rashad, has drawn a line on this particular issue. But Democrats who supported them, major unions who supported them, are willing to erase that line because the pain is becoming that intense. You understand my question, don't you?
Yes. I mean, I think that this is what Donald Trump is hoping for, right? He is hoping that we scream uncle, that we say enough, that we tap the mat and say, you win. And he is willing to hold out. And in essence, right, in an era where both parties have record low approval ratings, both parties, do not have sort of the kind of overwhelming support of the American people. The thing that I think does come out in focus groups that I see is that people do see the Republicans as willing to fight, as willing to like hold out and get things done, even if they're not the things that people actually want. That Democrats get into process a lot, and Democrats, are oftentimes the team that played the Harlem Globetrotters rather than the Harlem Globetrotters, where we are the foil, and in so many ways that is playing itself out here. And so I understand kind of the leadership quagmire that he is in right now. I understand sort of what it means, but the federal workers will go back to their jobs, perhaps, because we know that the bigger project that the Trump has is gutting the federal workforce and to privatize everything. And so this may feel like a temporary fix, but the long-term play for the Republicans, for this Trump project, for Project 2025, which is a clear roadmap, is to, basically hollow out the federal government, to privatize and turn over this infrastructure, our data, all the services that still remain in place, turn all those things over to his friends and his cronies and his family. And that is the project at hand. And so any kind of short-term fix that any union head or any leader believes they have by negotiating with Trump in the short term knows that it's only short term, and in the end, we will lose big.
Yep. I want to focus for another minute or two here on the Democratic Party base. As I said yesterday, no secret here that the two most loyal constituencies inside the Democratic Party, number one, black folk, we all know that. And number two, unions. Republicans have not been friendly to unions. Unions tend to be in the back pocket, if you will, of the Democratic Party. So unions and black folk are in unions, of course, make up the base of the Democratic Party. But here's what I was wrestling with yesterday with Everett, and he didn't quite go where I wanted him to go. But again, his role is different than yours. So I think I can get there. Hopefully I can get there all the way there with you. So here's my question about the base, and I think you've already figured out where I'm going here. On the one hand, you have this major union, again, that endorsed Kamala, and before he passed the baton, had endorsed Joe Biden, as most unions in this country did. On the other hand, I'm looking at these 7 million, and let me back up. For those who missed that conversation with Everett Kelly yesterday, I asked him, to give me some insight as to how he came to this decision. And he said to me, 7-1, 865,000 union members, and their data internally was 7-1 for him to do exactly what he did. What's today, Thursday? Exactly what he did on Tuesday, to say, we want this thing to end. We don't like being a pawn. This union doesn't like being a pawn in this fight, and we want this shutdown to end now. Put us back to work. Now, again, he knows the politics on this. Every story written in every major publication basically said it was an acquiescence to Republicans and Donald Trump. He got that. He said to me, though, it's not about Republicans or Democrats. It's about my members and the pain that they're feeling. Here's my point. I'm watching this union sort of, I'm putting this in air quotes, sort of bend the knee, if you will, in this fight. I said to him, I know you don't want to be a pawn, but what about holding out for the greater good? I understand that it may benefit your members, and I get that. I'm not making light of the pain they're feeling. But that's 865,000 people. Significant, to be sure, but it ain't the millions of people all across this country for whom Democrats, I think, are fighting on this issue of health care in the long term. We already see, I just was reading an article this morning before I came on the air today, we've already seen the skyrocketing numbers on Obamacare. So these numbers are going up for Obamacare. The SNAP benefits are about to end, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't want to be a pawn, but what about standing firm? What about holding out? What about taking one for the team? What about the greater good? I ask him. Here's what I'm pushing toward. This union sort of acquiesces on the one hand. On the other hand, Rashad, I see 7 million people at these No Kings rallies. Both of these entities represent the Democratic Party base, but I don't know how to read that. You follow me?
Yep.
How do I read that? Because those are two different narratives.
Those are two different narratives. I think this is one of the things I've been sort of wrestling with in terms of, where do we show up and when do we show up and what is going to be the role, in this moment for Black people and Black communities, in both pushing back and standing up. After the 2016 election, I saw a lot of uptick in many organizations. I was leading Color of Change at the time, and I saw Move On and all of these white organizations gain a lot of new members, a lot of people saying, this is not my country. I can't believe that this is happening. And I didn't have that same uptick. Black folks were not surprised. Black members in my institution were not surprised that Trump won, and were not saying this is not my country. And it wasn't really until Charlottesville that I really was able to see sort of uptakes in engagement and upticks in action. It is really interesting that I think you're making a point around like not seeing a large diverse display at No Kings and watching, a federal union sort of acquiesce to Trump. And is that saying something about the fight of the sort of loyal base in this moment? But I don't know if the No Kings rally was ever going to be the way that Black people are showing up. I'm watching and seeing, aunties and everyone else in my feed not go to Target and following the lead of Reverend Brian and Tamika Mallory and Nina Turner and what they're doing with Target Fast. I'm seeing people looking towards this upcoming, Black Friday season and really focusing on how they will spend their money and really sort of working to kind of exit from the economy over those couple of days. And so I'm seeing Black people show up in that way. I'm also seeing the biggest unions and some of the most diverse unions like SEIU and others stand really strong in service of this government shutdown and recognizing that we do have to hold out and we can't give in on healthcare and that we can't give in to Trump in this moment because his long-term project is to gain more and more power to destroy every last infrastructure. And at the end of the day, I do think, though, that folks are going to find the right path to engage, but it's not going to necessarily look like always what the sort of mainstream Democratic infrastructure asks us to do.
Mm-hmm. I've been thinking over the last 24 hours since I talked to Everett Kelly about the way I think unions should have moved. I think, and I said to Everett yesterday respectfully, I think they made a mistake here. I think that his union, the pain, again, I understand, but I think for the greater good, they miscalculated on this decision that they announced on Tuesday, demanding that government shut down, and it puts another level of pressure on the Democratic Party, and it potentially, I think, opens the door for other unions to say the same thing. I mean, this is the granddaddy of these unions, right? 865,000 members. So I expect in the coming days there may be other unions whose members start to feel the same kind of pain, and now you've got unions piling on like planes backed up at LAX trying to land, and the Democrats are really in a tight spot because this union, again, the union movement makes up a good part of their base. On the other hand, you got all these millions of fucking these No Kings rallies saying to Democrats, don't you dare, don't you even think about negotiating with Donald Trump on this particular issue. And so, I ain't got much faith or confidence, not unlike Rashad, I ain't got much faith or confidence in Democratic leadership to begin with. But if people start squeezing them, and those people squeezing them are the unions who control a lot of the money, who control the people to help them get out to vote, you see the conundrum this starts to create. I got an idea, though, about the way I think, at least, unions ought to be showing up in this particular moment. Donald Trump is leveraging his power. Why aren't the unions leveraging their power? And I've got an idea about that. I'll put it forth for Rashad to consider and get his take on it when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The family of Shanquella Robinson held a ceremony in North Carolina to mark 3 years since her death in Mexico. Her father still wants justice.
And that's all I'm asking for is the United States of America to step in and look at this case and make it right.
Though video showed she was attacked, the FBI said there wasn't enough evidence to pursue the case. A former Illinois deputy has been found guilty of second-degree murder in the shooting death of Sonia Massey. Sean Grayson killed Massey, a black woman, after she called 911 about an intruder. He claimed self-defense. Grayson faces up to 20 years or probation. And Miami Heat's Terry Rozier and Portland Trailblazer coach Chauncey Billups are off payroll amid a federal gambling probe. Rozier's $27 million salary is in escrow, and Billups forfeits $7 million until the case is concluded. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dodgers are in trouble. They lost to Toronto last night 6-1 and are now just one game away from missing out on winning back-to-back World Series titles. The Blue Jays take a 3-2 lead back home to Toronto for what could be a decisive Game 6 on Friday night. The Dodgers offense is breaking down at the wrong time. They've scored only 3 runs in the last 2 games and struck out 15 times last night. 12 of those strikeouts belong to Trey Yesevich, a 22-year-old rookie. Yesevich limited the Dodgers to 3 hits and 1 run. Only one Dodger batter went to the plate last night with a runner in scoring position. The Dodgers need to resuscitate their offense in a hurry. Austin Reeves continues to carry the Lakers with LeBron and Luka Doncic out with injuries. Reeves hit a short jumper in the lane at the buzzer last night in Minnesota to lift the Lakers to a 116-115 win. Reeves ended up with 28 points and 16 assists. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you missed the recent Left Coast Forum, then you really missed out. An insightful presentation from Professor Richard Wolff, a call to action from LA Mayor Karen Bass, an insider's view on Prop 50 and the government shutdown from Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager-Dove, and as usual, Dr. Cornel West brought down the House with a powerful closing keynote. And many of the plenary sessions were standing room only. Check out our social media posts for photos and video of what you missed at the Left Coast Forum and make plans to attend one of our upcoming events. Our next Altadena Town Hall is Thursday, November 6th, 4 to 6 p.m. at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena. We're going to interrogate SoCal Edison's settlement fund and see what's really going on with this fire recovery program. And our KBLA Talk 1580 Community Health and Wellness Fair is Saturday, November the 8th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here in Lamert Park at Catch at Audubon Middle School. All the details about these upcoming events can be found at our website, kbla1580.com. So thanks again to all those who supported the Left Coast Forum, and a special thanks to our partners this year: the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, Partnership for Growth, UTLA, LA Care Health Plan, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and the Liberty Hill Foundation.
KBLA Talk 1580, standing with you in perilous times. If you've been impacted by the federal government shutdown or the discontinuation of SNAP benefits, you can find a food bank near you that's offering free groceries by going to lafoodbank.org or call 211. Additionally, LA County offers free meals at certain parks. There are meals and snacks for kids and seniors. Visit parks.lacounty.gov to find out which centers are offering which programs and to register in advance. And in addition to offering 2 free meals per day for all students, the LA Unified School District provides weekend meal kits for its students by request. The meal kits can be picked up on Fridays at grab-and-go locations. Please visit lausd.org/Cafe LA. That's lausd.org/CAFELA. We keep us safe. We keep us provided for. We keep us connected. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
And the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley and Rashad Robinson, political activist, political commentator, and the brain behind the newsletter, How We Win. We'll talk about how we win before we wrap this conversation. That I'm anxious to hear Rashad's perspective on. But I was saying a moment ago about these unions and how I think they ought to be showing up in this moment. So clearly Donald Trump, to your point, Rashad, is using all his leverage, every bit of it. He's hoping right now that we on the left, the Democrats, say uncle first. That's why he's holding out and seems not to care about these SNAP benefits that are going to end in the next, 48 hours. And 42 million people, many women and children, are going to be impacted by that literally 48 hours from now. He's hoping that Democrats, again, say uncle first. This union that Everett Kelly runs, jumped out Tuesday and made their statement, and people are trying to parse and figure out exactly what that means. Is the Democratic base starting to fray? Are we seeing cracks now on the left? And so here's my thought, and I'm not naive about this, but if Donald Trump's using his leverage, Unions, I think, ought to do the same. Laborers ought to do the same. So Donald Trump has shut down government. But you know what would shut this whole country down? If laborers and unions in particular had their own strike. To your point about Democrats and the ennoblers and the enablers, namely corporate America can't survive without resources. But if in solidarity with these federal workers, other unions and other laborers shut America down, then Donald Trump would have to do something. Republicans would have to do something because now those persons who are enabling him are losing money themselves. I mean, the U.S. government right now is losing, the economy rather, is losing $7 billion per month. And this, at the moment, this shutdown shows no signs of ending. But we're losing $7 billion per month. Here's the rub. That $7 billion per month is not going to be recovered whenever this shutdown ends. And so Trump is using his leverage. It is the case that these Democratic unions and other laborers could use their leverage as well and bring everything to a halt. And now you got a real conversation going, Rashad. Again, I'm not naive about that, but there is another option here. There is another alternative here.
Yeah, and I think this is an alternative that a lot of people are talking about. And I think we're going to reach a point where the pain is and the suffering is going to be at a level where folks are going to be looking for other pathways to disrupt the profiteering, disrupt the business as usual. And I think the trick here is that it's going to have to be a lot more than just organized labor. Organized labor is probably about a little less than 10% of the American workforce. So even if you got all the unions together to commit to something, which, you know, they can't really commit to everything altogether ever, let alone something that would be so, you know, kind of so revolutionary. You're going to need a lot more of America's workforce sort of engaged. But I do think we are reaching a point of no return where the workforce in this country is going to have to do something more. You know, over the next, 7 to 10 years, we're going to see radical changes in the way that AI is going to impact every single sort of sector and impact and take kind of cut the knees out of a whole set of the workforce. And we have no sort of path or story for how do we make communities whole in that process. It really is going to be a process that will once again move more and more money up to the top and take away a lot more resources at the bottom. And how do you have a democracy? How do you even have capitalism if people can't afford to buy things? If people are not able to purchase things, which is, key to capitalism. And so the tools that this gives us, from an organizing perspective are clear. And so I think a lot about that in terms of sort of what is the path forward. But I think you're absolutely right. If we are not doing more to both disrupt at a grand scale and then to do surgical disruptions in particular sectors that Donald Trump relies on or that could potentially cause problems for Trump and the Republicans, all of this is going to have to be done as we march towards the 2026 election, where we have this Section 2 voting rights case that will be decided in January, which could, really cut out a whole lot of our opportunity for the type of representation for Black people, for progressives, for those that want to move this country forward and give more power to Republicans. And so there's a lot that we have to do. But if we don't start getting people in motion, that we have to do a lot more to disrupt. And whether that is organized labor or that's everyday people, even as I think about what is the next phase of the No Kings March, and we have to stop just simply showing up to places where people expect us to show up. But we're going to have to start bringing those marches and bringing those engagements to the businesses and to the other institutions that, are holding up this administration and are profiting off of all of these actions, whether it is the industries that are profiting off of the immigration raids, the industries that will still get paid, even though SNAP benefits won't actually reach Americans, but the processors and all of those corporations, which will still get their money. These are all part of of the narrative that people, I think, have to understand in this moment and understand what exactly is happening. And then at the other side of all of this are people that will be making money while those who are already been targeted and attacked will continue to suffer.
So I think you and I are on the same page. There has to be a different kind of disruption. What we have at the moment, this ain't rocket science for me. What we have at the moment is the federal workforce that's feeling this pain. But nobody else is feeling any pain.
Yep.
Donald Trump's supporters, the oligarchs that hang out with him at the White House, they're not feeling any pain. And that's my point about how workers and unions have to use their leverage. And again, I'm not naive. You can't do this all across the board at one time. But Rashad puts his finger on it. You targeted disruptions. Somebody other than the federal workforce has to start to feel some pain. And those are the persons that have Donald Trump's ear. He clearly cares nothing about federal workers. We knew that when Elon Musk showed up. They have no care, no concern, no love whatsoever for the federal workforce. But how then do we decide to disrupt in a way that causes the people who do support him some kind of economic pain in solidarity with those federal workers who are feeling all the pain by themselves right about now? That's what I'm pushing toward. What does that look like? And I'm not suggesting in this chair that I know the answer to that. I'm just telling you, again, it ain't rocket science. Somebody other than the federal workforce had better start feeling some pain. I'm all for these marches. I love the No Kings rallies. But the marches ain't causing nobody no pain.
And it's not causing anyone pain. We get the get the permits.
Yeah.
We have the marches. And look, I think as an organizer, those are the first steps on the ladder of engagement. We need these rallies and we need these protests. We need people to come out so that we can get people to do the next thing and the next thing. And so this is in no way actually a critique. It's just a recognition that we can't think about this as the end, but as the beginning.
Yep.
And we have to think about it as one step on the road to building the type of sort of force of people that is unignorable. And being unignorable means that, you know, in the words of sort of Bayard Rustin, we have to be able to put a stick in the spoke.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to stop the systems from being able to move. And if we're not actually creating that type of disruption, then we're not doing the things that are actually going to force, you know, institutions to have to do things different. And we're not going to force Donald Trump to do things different. And we've seen various moments where Donald Trump has overreached and business has actually had to pull him back.
That's right.
And I in no way want to be a fan of billionaires being, you know, the folks that go to Donald Trump on our behalf, because that's a losing proposition most days of the week, unless it serves them. But what I will say is that we have to start right-sizing this conversation and right-sizing the power. And I think the federal workforce, those who are feeling so much of the pain right now, need to see us standing up and speaking out, because they're looking at all of this right now and feeling like that Donald Trump continues to win.
Yeah.
And they don't have a sense that there's going to be a win on the other side. But what I know is clear from watching Donald Trump and from, you know, fighting the corporations that have supported him over the years and sometimes winning some of those campaigns and sometimes losing some of those campaigns, is that Donald Trump is going to keep working to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And so anyone in the federal workforce that thinks that them going back to work, you know, if this shutdown ends, means that their jobs are safe, have not read Project 2025 and have not been paying attention to the bigger Donald Trump agenda.
I got 3 words for you: Montgomery bus boycott.
100%.
Montgomery bus boycott. We did a whole lot of marching in the civil rights era, but what shut that bad boy down was when them Negroes stopped riding them buses. You can't just march. I'm all for the No Kings things, but if Donald Trump is causing this kind of disruption, this kind of pain, you have to respond in the same way. I digress for now. More with Rashad Robinson when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
On Thursday evening, November 6th, you're invited to the next KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Town Hall meeting. This time we're convening at Victory Bible Church, 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. The town hall will once again be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580 from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 6th. But you're invited to join us in person for this urgent and necessary community conversation. The theme for this Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire Town Hall is Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. The primary focus of this gathering is to inform residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched Wildfire Recovery Compensation Program and provide clarity on eligibility and the claims process. There are plenty of questions to be asked, and only KBLA Talk 1580 has the right moderators to ask the tough questions, the right stakeholders and community activists to share their insights, and we have confirmed the participation of corporate executives from Southern California Edison to answer our queries. So be sure to join us at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena, 1497 North Hill Avenue on Thursday, November 6th. The event is free and open to the public, but registration is required at kbla1580.com. That's kbla1580.com. Light refreshments will be served immediately following the live town hall. This KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Rising Town Hall is brought to you by the Black Freedom Fund.
California, this is your moment. The special election is November 4th, and your vote helps decide your future, your community, and your state. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box. Visit an early vote center or mail it. Your participation powers democracy. Every ballot makes a difference. Tell a friend to do the same. Sign up at where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov to track your ballot. Make your voice count. Don't delay. Vote today. A message from the California Secretary of State.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Rashad Robinson. I mentioned moments ago that the Montgomery bus boycott is Exhibit A, to my mind, for how we do this. The marches are great. I'm all for no Kings rallies. But at some point, if Donald Trump continues down this path and there is no end in sight to this government shutdown and people start losing benefits and food insecurity goes off the rails in this country, you have to fight fire with fire. And again, for all that we talk about vis-a-vis the civil rights movement in those marches, they did more than march in Montgomery, and that's what brought them to their knees when the pain was inflicted on the folk who owned the bus company. That's the real rub. Speaking of Montgomery, right quick, my read of history suggests to me that it was on this day in 2005, so 20 years ago today, Rosa Parks became the first woman to lie in honor in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. I remember it well. I was there. That was in 2005. So 20 years ago today, Rosa Parks was the first woman in this country to ever be so honored to lie in honor. When it's the president, it's called lie in state. When it's someone other than the president, like Rosa Parks, it's called lie in honor. But that was 20 years ago today, speaking of the Montgomery bus boycott. When we come forward in our remaining moments with Rashad Robinson, we'll get his take on how we win, which is the name of his new newsletter. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, yo, come on.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, Gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-4493, 800-515-4493, 800-515-4493.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed. Rashad Robinson, I am not calling for anarchy, but it is the case, as you well know, that societies without food are more at risk of an increase in violent crime, rising healthcare costs, say nothing of mental health problems, and a decrease in economic productivity, according to the experts. These food insecurity symptoms often cause uprisings and what the experts call food riots. I raise that because I've been online the last couple of days, and I'm seeing an uptick in conversation online. For the record, Tavis is not calling for anarchy, but I'm seeing a lot more conversations online about smash and grabs. Once these SNAP food benefits are cut, and 1 in 8, 42 million Americans lose their food benefits, and food insecurity starts to rise, there's a lot of online chatter encouraging people to engage in these smash and grabs. Again, I'm not condoning that, but I'm just telling you that's what's being talked about everywhere online now. Check it out for yourself. I hope it doesn't come to that. Because that would, again, aid and abet the narrative that Donald Trump and Republicans are trying to advance about the lawlessness of the left. I'm just saying keep your eye on it and be safe as you move around. If in the next 48 hours they cut the benefits for all these Americans who will not have access to food. I've got 3 minutes.
Tavis,
yes,
Tavis,
sure.
to that point,
Yeah.
that is actually why I think it's so incredibly important that Democrats are actually naming and being specific about naming the villains on the other side, because
Right.
when we don't name the villains, it plays right into the larger Republicans' hands, right? You can't, the project of diminishing and demeaning and creating a narrative about Black people that then plays right into the hands of cutting services, of taking away our vote, of
That's right.
all of the things that are sort of part of this larger project. And so when we don't actually, when those who are supposed to be on our side are not naming
Yeah.
the villains, it's easy to fill the villains in with us
That's
and
it.
with immigrants and whoever else.
I got 2 minutes left. Say a word about your new newsletter, How We Win.
How We Win is a platform that I'm building. It's a newsletter. It's going to be a podcast starting in January, and it's all connected on the strategies and the tools and the insight about how do we win in this moment? How do we think about taking on the profiteers? What are the lessons from the field that we need to understand? How do we break past the magical thinking that sometimes stands in our way? And it will be a mix of articles. It will be a mix of thinking, connecting cultural moments, pointing out sort of things that are happening in the news. Folks can go to rashadrobinson.com, and sign up for the newsletter right on that site. And then look out for the podcast that comes in January. And then my book with Random House will come out in June. So I'm hoping to be back and talk to you about that. But the book that is about power and change and how we win. All of these things in this moment are my contribution to helping us sharpen the strategies, sharpen our focus, and to be able to start doing the things that align ourselves with the world that we're currently in, recognizing that we're not going to go back to the old world. It didn't serve us well anyway. But what we build next is going to be about sort of how do we think about strategy, how do we recognize the role of power, and how do we build it in ways that actually helps us change the rules.
His track record of color of change speaks for itself, and now he's on to a new project called How We Win. I read his first piece on How We Win. It's called We're at the Beginning, Not the End. You made that reference earlier. We're at the beginning, not the end. I encourage you to read it, but he's going to spend his time in the months and years to come trying to help us navigate this grim moment that we find ourselves in, with his thoughts at least about how we win. He is Rashad Robinson. Rashad, good to have you back on this program, my friend. All the best.
Always good to be with you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. When we come forward, hour 2 kicks off with Smiley and West. Dr. Cornell West in the house on Tavis Smiley.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The family of Shanquella Robinson held a ceremony in North Carolina to mark 3 years since her death in Mexico. Her father still wants justice.
And that's all I'm asking for is the United States of America to step in and look at this case and make it right.
Though video showed she was attacked, the FBI said there wasn't enough evidence to pursue the case. A former Illinois deputy has been found guilty of second-degree murder in the shooting death of Sonia Massey. Sean Grayson killed Massey, a black woman, after she called 911 about an intruder. He claimed self-defense. Grayson faces up to 20 years or probation. And Miami Heat's Terry Rozier and Portland Trailblazer coach Chauncey Billups are off payroll amid a federal gambling probe. Rozier's $27 million salary is in escrow, and Billups forfeits $7 million until the case is concluded. Get BIN News Now